talking about how you drop a lot of weight in combat.
Yeah, because you're, first place, you're not overeating. Next place, in the line company, you're getting good, tough exercise all the time. Because everywhere you go, you can walk or run, jog. And we used to go on a 30-mile hike. If you want something sweet, you try a couple of 30-mile hikes. But then when I was in ranger training, we used to run them. You run 10 miles. I mean, you don't fool around. You go. Otherwise, you're out. You're out. But it only hurts for a while. You know, it's still a big drain on the body. You can still eat all you want to and never get fat.
That's great. Generally, what did you eat up on the line? You usually just get K rations?
Well, C rations and K rations. Yeah. And D-bars, the chocolate, concentrated chocolate. They call them D-bars. It was very nutritious, but didn't compare to fried chicken.
Didn't taste too good.
No.
Did you like any of the ration selections, or did they really get to be a grind to eat?
Yeah, in a sense. You had to eat them cold, and some were better than the others. Used to get beans and weenies. That was favorite. Everybody loved beans and weenies. And they had stew. And macaroni and something. They had it kept you going, but it wasn't gourmet fare. That's why I love to have a kitchen come up and, lay a spread on it.
Generally, if the kitchen did catch up with you, what kind of food would it be? What
Everything.
kind of selections? Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, real meat?
Real meat and real veggies. Oh, yeah. And depends on where we were. Out in the desert, we had goat.
Wild goat?
Goat from Australia.
Really?
Mutton. Mutton. That gets cold. Ooh, it's like eating your shoes. Nobody liked that. But that's all they did.
You ever come across any German rations?
Oh,
Any of their rations? Did you
yeah,
like them?
you bet. First thing we took away from them was their cheese. They had all kinds of cheese. Smearcase, what do they call it? Smearcase? Okay. Yeah, they yeah, they were...
Did you ever find that you lost your appetite while you're in combat? Just didn't even think about eating, you're so preoccupied?
Well, a lot of times you get too busy to eat, but no. Yeah, I got the flu one time and was off my feed for a couple of days. But this wasn't in combat. This was on Tennessee maneuver. Up in the Garland Mountains. And I was sick. I fell into the grease pit. I mean, I wound up in my tonsillitis real bad. I had 2 or 3 days there. It was a booger. And then I had to promise the surgeon that as soon as we got back to Camp Force, I'd go have my tonsils taken care of. And I did. And that was an experience, I'm telling you.
What happened?
Well, I'll tell you, you go down and they admit you to the hospital and they take you in, put you in a nice bed. And they come and get you. Then they take you on a gurney. They take you in there and get you off the gurney and put you in this like a recliner. Open up, get in there, bleeding like a pig. Get finished with you. Get you out of the chair, say, okay, going back to your ward.
Just walk on back.
Yeah. Go back to the ward. And the nurses are lifesavers. they will teach you how to take care of yourself. And they were something else. Especially those old nurses.
And a healthy respect for the medical corps.
Yeah, you bet. Well, we didn't like medical administrative corps particularly because they were men and they weren't fighting. You know, we used to call them ballbacks. But they served perfect.
Do you feel that way about most rear echelon?
Mm. Yeah, usually in a combat outfit you do. When you consider it takes 14 to 17 people back there to support one guy up there, then you're looking at a bunch of logistics. And I admired the hell out of the black soldiers and truck drivers. Those black truck drivers, they had that red ball.
Mm-hmm.
They were...
Really?
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you. And they'd go through hell to get you out of there. And they did. I did a lot of miles with that. And they weren't bitching up the old fire pits. Trucks that blown up. They got blown up.
Mines, generally.
And artillery. Anytime. Good morning.
I say it's break time for lunch.
There was a school of thought that emerged after the war, mainly due to the efforts of S.L.A. Marshall. Have you ever heard of him? S.L.A. Marshall. He came up with this theory that only about 1 out of every 6 or 7 American infantry soldiers in combat ever fired their weapon. What do you think about that?
It's probably true. I don't think it was too true of anybody who served under Patton.
So you think in Patton's army it would have been different?
Yeah. Yeah, because Patton was dead on that. Fire that gun, fire that gun. We've got plenty of ammunition.
So in your unit, if you could come up with some sort of percentage, did you ever even think about it?
No?
Just everybody
A lot of
was firing
times
their
guys
weapons?
were too frightened temporarily to fire, but once you get into it, it's comforting. It gives you good. I've seen them burn out barrels, machine guns, and VAR too. That Browning automatic rifle. Fearsome weapon.
That was a pretty effective weapon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How did you utilize it?
You used it in marching fire. What you call marching fire? Put it in a sling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fire it from shoulder, you fire it from sling. Very effective.
Give it to your best men.
And you had to have about a 3-man group because it burned up a lot of ammunition. one guy couldn't carry that and the rifle and everything, so you usually had like a 3-man team with it.
You yourself carried a Thompson submachine gun, is that right?
Mm-hmm. And I had a 45.
What were your opinions of those weapons?
Well, the Thompson was the most effective. We had what they call a grease gun that was brought out. It was metal fabricated, and you couldn't get turned on that.
Why not?
It had such a slow cyclic rate. You just didn't feel comfortable. You know, it was too mechanical. But it took us a long time too, with the old army, to get used to the M1. Yeah, because we used to use the 03s. That was a honey rifle.
The 03. It was heavy, but it was accurate.
Oh, yeah. And it used to be one of the biggest things before the war, is earning a marksmanship expert badge, because you got $5 book for that. But it took hours and hours and hours of practice. And you tried at 500 yards one time to the 10-inch bullseye.
Difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And the M1 came along.
Yeah.
And then what was your opinion of that eventually?
Well, once we got used to it, yeah, it was outstanding with it. But it, if you'd never had an 03, then it would be a problem. The problem was getting your damn thumb out of there before that slide came forward.
Really? Did you ever get your thumb caught in there?
Always.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to snap down and get stuck out. By the time you'd be doing other things, and everybody had a lot of blue thumbs.
They call it M1 thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the tanks went, United States tanks, in your opinion, which was the best one?
The German tank.
No U.S. tank would even be up there with any of the German tanks.
Well, the heavy tank came in toward the end. No, but that Tiger and Panzer were superior to our tank. They had the heavy one, but we never. The combat ones were Shermans, M6s. But the German tank was engineered better and more heavily armored. We'll see in Libya and El Alamein and stuff, they lost an awful lot of our tanks. And the British tanks weren't any better.
They just weren't even in the same category.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have any contact with British soldiers or Canadians?
Oh, yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I didn't have much use for the officers, but the enlisted men were outstanding.
How come you didn't like the officers?
It wasn't a matter of liking them, it's a matter of different lifestyles, because they were so far removed from the troops. You know, they were class by itself. But the soldier on the line was unreal. And the Australians were unstoppable.
Really?
Yeah. They didn't give a damn, right? Nobody could discipline them, you know, the way you would think. Teutonic discipline, no. They were free spirits.
Have any theories about why that is?
Well, it's just the culture.
Mm-hmm.
The culture.
Any contact with Canadians at all?
Oh, yeah. We always had Canadians.
They make any kind of impression on you, one way or the other?
Very positive.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. They're just so much like us that there was never any difficulty adjusting to them.
Oh, I imagine there was constant fear. You probably had fear always with you. How did you keep a rein on that your entire time in combat? And how do you overcome fear?
You don't overcome. You can't. You just corral it, manage it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying about the stress. That's the stress that, because you want to get the hell out of it. And it's fear. But you turn it around, you want to get the hell up there. See, Patton understood that better than me. Fire and movement, fire and movement. Because he was just a genius at that. That's, as far as I'm concerned, was the only thing he's ever good at.
Really?
That and tank deployment.
But it was good enough to be an effective commander, I guess, right?
But he should have died the day the war ended. Because I hated to see him get stuck in the hospital.
And especially with what happened to him. Paralyzed.
Yeah. And when he slapped that soldier, they made a big to-do about nothing. I mean, that's nothing. That's that emotion. And emotion will reason, a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. You believe that every man had his breaking point?
Yeah. Oh, every man does. Yeah, at some point. But some break differently, Sitting, crying, and it's hard to understand it, but it's given.
You're talking about the breaking point?
Yeah. Yeah, nobody is, I think, can be steel-willed. There's a point in every person that you boil over. And fear is a constant companion, as I say. It's stupid to think about getting up and walking into death. It's the toughest real estate in the world. But you don't dwell on it. You have fun while you can. You know what they say, eat, drink, and be merry. Tomorrow you probably die.
So you had that viewpoint then?
Mm-hmm.
Figured, what does it matter?
Well, you had a duty. And it amazes me, though, how well the average person, dwelt with the stress on that. And all the men I commanded in my unit, I lost one man because of cowardice. One man.
Whole time. Wow.
And he just pulled out one day. And I don't know what happened to him. Because we were in a pretty tough fight. He got up in his rear. Never heard from him again. And he wasn't on German POW list, so I assumed somebody took care of him.
And you had psychiatric casualties.
Yeah, but extremely few. No, I don't, outside of him and I think his was just pure cowardice, Because I had the whole scope of humanity in those men I had. I had one guy who couldn't read or write. Sparks. But he was the pet of the company.
Really?
Morale. Yeah. I'm trying to teach him interior guard duty. He never did get it right. He said, Halt, who's there? I said, Officer of the day. say, advance and be reconciled. And we always carried his pack and everything on hikes. So he provided a morale. And this lieutenant I had at Spinoza, best morale factor, because he was a clown. But he was good. He got shot in the buttocks.
Appropriately.
And he was always said, yeah, this war one way or the other. And had him cross the Jeep on his stomach. And he's pointing at his cornhole wounds. He's living down in Florida.
So he made the men laugh, and
Oh, yeah.
that's how he
Yes.
led.
Yeah. And he was a competent lieutenant. He was just irreverent.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has something, you know, that you can use. Miss Tippins, I hope you can go see him. It'll be worth your time to go down and see Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see it from the enlisted side, you know. Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest single factor in how effective your men were? You know, your company was very effective. You were just saying that you were amazed at how well the average person stood up under the rigors.
Uh-huh.
What do you think is the biggest single factor that caused that?
Brotherhood. You know, everybody sharing the same dangers and same joy and same sorrow and all that. I think just brotherhood. Because nobody was deeply religious. No, if he was, they'd laugh at him. So that's why I think about the Vietnam experience. They blamed the soldiers, and the soldiers weren't to blame for that. Because we had a purpose when we went into combat. But they were just shipped over there. And just cannon fodder. And I can see where it brought on many, many problems.
To make you grateful you fought in the war that you did, even though it was probably a more terrible war to be a part of.
No, it wasn't that terrible. Well, you know, I never thought it being particularly terrible, you know. And I was in Okinawa too, right after the war. And we had thousands of unsurrendered Japanese there. And I had a military police battalion there. And we did a lot of work pinning up Japanese. One of the biggest things I had there was these big 6x6 trucks. We had a depot, ordnance depot, and it was all black. And the Okinawans hated it, and they hated the Okinawans.
Why?
I don't know. Asiatics just aren't friendly to blacks. It's a cultural thing. And they used to. We had in a compound And they used to raid the compounds, you know, rape the women and all. And we had plenty of trouble in Okinawa. Officers were not deprived. That's when they were reducing the army. They were what they call RIFing, reduction of force, RIFing. And they had officers with nothing to do. They used to go down to the club. I'd have to take a patrol down there and close the club. I had them want to fight me out. Say, okay, jackets off, let's go, buddy.
They got in a lot of fights that way.
But I enjoyed it. Well, I was pretty well trained. Yeah. Well, it could kill you without making a sound. And that's training. And then I went to that gig in Korea. And Korea was a bad gig. Bad gig. Those little kids and homeless. Of course, they would just slaughter there. Especially when the Chinese came in, you know. I'll tell you, I don't have much use for MacArthur.
Why is that?
Personally. Well, I think he's arrogant, imperial, dominating, autocrat, aristocrat. But he is a splendid mind, you know, far beyond normal ability to think. But he got too big for himself. And that's when Truman says, "You're out of here." Because you didn't mess with old hairy ass Truman.
Not the right thing to do.
No. No. But he was a fine gentleman. As much as Pat. And he did more for Japan than anything possible could have done. And he did it by keeping the emperor. He didn't want to take away the people's focus.
Guess that was probably his finest hour, really.
Yes.
In Japan.
Yeah, it was. He said, "Oh, soldiers never die. They just fade away." But you couldn't like him.
Is there anything else that comes to mind that you would want people to know about that I haven't asked you about?
I said, war doesn't solve anything. Peace solves things. Peaceful. Don't be shooting, be talking. And we've proved this on a couple of occasions. You know, like that temporary truce, you know, stretched on and on. But nobody's getting killed. Because it's a shame to waste the cream of the people, because that's who does the fighting, or the cream, the young, reasonably intelligent people who lead the country to a better future. And you go out and kill them, and you're dominated by the less apt. I don't say peace at any price, but I say we've got to strive for peace. Because you realize we spend billions of dollars on promoting peace. And they strip the budgets down, you know. And I say, rightfully so. Take it away. Take away this military threat. And I go back to old George Washington. He says, don't get so tied up in others' affairs. Take care of your own affairs. Protect your own stuff. But in the meantime, you've got to help people who are trying to head. But we can't make everybody Democrat. Being a solid conservative Republican,
You say thank God, right?
no, everybody lives differently. Just keep the culture, and that's what MacArthur did. Kept that culture strong, and they are strong.
Strong culture.
They're tricky, but they're strong. But we're plenty tricky. Plenty. Because our big business can't be beat. We look at the major General Motors, Ford, and only to name a few. But you'll never have peace. Peace will always be flurry. Like what's going on in South Africa. See, that's a war of what? Independence.
I think it's just human nature. We just fight.
That's right. It's the biggest part. Like Mandela. He's trying to talk with them. Because he's pretty well corralled the, what do they call them, Inkthas?
What?
Inkthas, that party.
The ANC?
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a tribe there too. Oh, that's, well, anyway, he's trying to tell them, let's quit killing and let's work together. And you don't know. See, Russia used to be that horrible threat. You saw what happened to Russia real quick. Poof. And everybody says that proves that communism is dead, you know, gone. And it isn't. We're always going to have it. It's just not going to be the dirty word. And who's to say that Karl Marx wasn't right? Of course, they don't really truly follow Karl Marx. But now, we flourish under benign dictatorship. and you do. Except that power goes up to the top, and you got people moving in, pulling out a piece from you, piece from you. We're only like corruption and scandal. Being a Presbyterian, I can tell you what to
What?
Even Jesus wasn't that peaceable, you know. He fought for his belief. Oh. Well, we're sorry, yes. We come in the world with Shakespeare squalling and puking. And we go out the same way.
There is a sort of symmetry there.
And you live a brief time. You're embarrassed, naked, shitting in the bed, and then dead. And plant you under, put your ashes in oil and scatter them around.
If you're lucky, you can get all the way to that phase
Yeah.
from the first to the last.
Otherwise, they stick in the ground, you rot. And that's good for the soul.
The cycle.
So much for philosophy.
I'll do it for philosophy, I
Yeah.
guess.